Push. What does it take to succeed in life? What helped you get to where you are now? Did you do this all by yourself? Or did you need someone to encourage you? Did you need a push? Nearly 16% of Americans live in poverty, the highest since 1964. What can this generation do about it? Since 2008, Push has been working to uplift families out of poverty. This is the story of a generation coming together to change many families' lives. It is not every day that one gets to experience life-changing events. It is not every day that we expect to be moved by people we see or places we may visit. But it is every day that we have opportunity and endless possibilities. For Daniel Graves, this opportunity came swiftly on a day he would remember for the rest of his life. This day was a pivotal point in his life in which he would realize his tremendous desire to change the world.
October 2008, I remember Mount Vernon Academy taking a senior government trip to Washington, D.C. It was quite an amazing trip because I remember standing on the same place that Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech, and it really started to inspire me, start to provoke my conscience to think about what could I do to serve my country. In fact, on the bus trip, on the bus ride back to school, I opened up a book from Dr. King. It was actually quotes selected by Coretta Scott King, and she selected this quotes from her husband. And the very first quote in the book jumped out at me. It said, "You have not yet begun to live until you begin to serve." And these words are what inspired me to start a movement to end poverty.
Beginning in Mount Vernon, Ohio, Push led a group of Mount Vernon Academy students to go door to door, conducting surveys to discover how families in the community could receive support. As a result of this effort, Push impacted 40 impoverished families. Hear the story of Push saving one of these families from eviction.
You often hear us reporting stories about kids in trouble, but this is one of those stories never told often enough. About being inspired to serve by a class trip to Washington, a high school senior is making a big impact on a Central Ohio community. And 10 TV's Andy Hirsch shows us how he's helping fight poverty one family at a time.
Okay.
After getting laid off early this year, Larry Mercer, his wife Tricia, and their 2 young children were running out of money and time.
When you start getting the phone calls from the bill collectors, you don't know what's going to happen next.
That's when 17-year-old Daniel Graves walked into their lives.
I'm trying to do my part, my small part in this world.
The Mount Vernon Academy senior goes door to door collecting food for hungry families. He calls it Push Against Poverty, a program he started last fall.
Lots of times when people think of my generation, they think of a don't care type of generation, but I don't believe anyone's too young to serve.
The Mercers needed more than food. Their home was in foreclosure.
We didn't know when they would throw us out.
There was a relative's house in town, but it was neglected for years, vacant for the most part.
You walked in, there was feces all over the ground. There were raccoons living in the loft.
But determined to help, the high schooler rounded up classmates and raised money to help fix the place up. Now the Mercers are moving into their new home, picturing a much better life, thanks to an unexpected helping hand.
Well, students at Cleveland State are leading an effort to help families in Cleveland find a way out of poverty. The group is called Push Against Poverty. It's a student-run organization at Cleveland State. And yesterday, about 20 students went door to door in the Huff neighborhood, conducting economic surveys and asking families what they need to succeed. Then over the next 6 months, these volunteers will go back to these homes to tutor kids and offer help to the adults.
Link them to churches, nonprofits, and resources in the communities, basically matching the family's needs with resources that can assist them in their rise out of poverty. And the same thing with the kids. So they would do that every week, and at the end of the 6 months, we want to be able to see that their income improved, that the children's grades improved.
We have a pamphlet.
It is an incredible idea. The group hopes to show families there is a way out of poverty and how to help their neighbors as well.
Right now, Push continues as the organization is striving to reach families in the surrounding areas of the D.C. Maryland area and working to support families and pushing them towards a path out of poverty. For this, Push was also featured on the Hope Channel, a global TV network.
It has really broadened my perspective as to what service means, and it really showed me the power, the true power that we can make as particularly my generation, can make when we come together to open up ourselves, to open up our hearts, to open up our lives, to reach people, to serve people. And when you come together, there is nothing that you can't do. In fact, one of my favorite quotes it says is, a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. And that's what we were able to do, is to be able to change Miss Mercer's lives and other families' lives right there in Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Let's push together.